I guess that volleyball is the only sport where the word kill is a good thing. And that's a big part of the game. I suspect the word kill could have been the middle name for Marnie Triefenbach-Curling. Man, could she kill. When she graduated from 8th grade, she was 5'6". By Christmas that year, I read, she was over 5'9". So basketball and volleyball were definitely in her future. As a junior at Belleville West, she was an outstanding basketball and volleyball player. Marnie held a national high school record for career kills while leading the Marines to the Illinois State Championship. They were almost invincible, going 76-2 and winning back-to-back state titles. They were ranked number 2 in the nation in 1991. Ironically, her kill record was broken by St. Louis and Kristen Focal, who led St. Joe's Academy to 94 straight wins. Marnie and Kristen will wind up as teammates at Stanford University. I understand Crystal, who's a member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, is here tonight. I want to make sure I introduce her and have her stand up. One of the great athletes in the history of St. Louis, Kristen Focal. Marnie excelled in basketball at West, but went to Stanford on a basketball scholarship. But it was volleyball where she made her mark, and she's recognized as one of Stanford's greatest athletes. At Stanford, the volleyball team won 2 national championships and finished 3rd in another. In one season, they won 32-1, and in the NCAA title match, Marnie and Kristen Focal combined for a stunning 48 kills. Marnie was in the USA Volleyball Training Program in Los Angeles, when unfortunately she broke her ankle snowboarding. That ended her serious volleyball career. She married former Stanford football player Eric Hurling. They have 2 daughters. Her post-season college post-playing career took a very unique turn, very unusual. She's the managing partner for the Skyline Partners construction project management firm in San Leonardo, California. She made the trip in from California tonight for this, and we are honored to welcome home Marnie and welcome this amazing athlete into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Congratulations. Ron rattled off those numbers, 76-2 in the 2 years you won the state championship at Belleville West, 139-9 in 4 years. I'm sure you got spoiled by winning, but what was it like for you and the ladies on your team when you didn't win?
Rough. None of us like to lose. I was blessed. I heard a lot of people talking about their coaches. I have a table here of my coaches who are all Hall of Famers in their own right. I'll tell a very quick story about my junior year. We were talented, very talented. We returned a great team. We had a lot of high school all-staters, and we were not performing in practice. And Charlie Rodman kicked us out of the gym for the first time in, I think, the history of his program. I think he knew at the time what we had, wanted us to get serious, to focus, kind of bear down and get to work. And at that point, I think it was a turning point for us.
And what happened after that?
We won a lot.
A lot.
We worked hard. We had a group of gals on the team that were really competitive, a lot of trash talking, a lot of pushing, a lot of just firing each other up. And I think that was kind of the catalyst for that season for us and turning corner.
Marty, we always talk about and hear about with high school sports. A high school coach he's a coach, but he's also, he or she, somebody that has a great impact on your life. Can you talk about the impact outside of volleyball that Coach Rodman had on your life?
Well, he was also my English teacher, so he taught me how to speak. So it's a little nerve-wracking to sit here and have him sitting right here. You know, I have daughters now, and they're not quite into sports. But watching some of my friends' kids compete, I realize now how much influence of character the coaches have at that level. To send you 2,000 miles away to college, you have to be prepared. I credit Coach Rodman with that. Coach Betts is here, Coach Keefe, Coach Sperry, my parents, whom were my very first coaches. It's all about character.
When we're that young and you're having that much success, it tends to be a blur. What do you remember most? What are your strongest memories of that success at West?
You know, it wasn't so much about the points. I mean, as I get older, those moments kind of fade away, and I remember the minutes and the times with the team. You know, the relationships, the bus rides, the tears, the locker room. Those are the things that I remember the most. Those relationships are the things I carry with me.
As you were watching, you pay attention, how aware of you, or how aware of Kristen were you?
Well, I have to say, Kristen, I have to give her credit for my recruiting, and my coaches for having a little bit of forethought to say, look, if you want to be recruited, you need to go to St. Louis. That's where the club teams are, where AAU basketball is. So I joined an AAU basketball team, and I walk into a gym, and there's Kristen jumping out of the gym. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord. Then to find out she's 2 years younger than me, Tara Vanderveer, the Stanford basketball coach, came to an AAU game to see Kristen, and she saw me. And I started getting recruited for basketball. Tara Vanderveer came to Belleville, sat in my high school gym, and watched me play volleyball. The timing of it was such that she had to see a volleyball game. She walked into the volleyball coach's office at Stanford, and she said, there's a gal in Belleville, and if you don't already know about her, you need to get her on your list. So they came looking for Kristen, and they found me. So I'll take it.
Was that an easy choice for you? So you go to Northern California, and I read that that's obviously it's a long ways to go away when you're 18. Was that an easy choice or a tough choice?
It was an easy choice. I mean, Stanford's an incredible academic institution, and you can't pass that up. There were other certainly great volleyball and basketball programs, but that package was too hard to pass up. I heard Craig say, you know, fish out of water. I was one of 2 gals on the team from outside of California, and it was a culture shock, to say the very least.
And what was the highlight there of the athletic career with the Cardinal?
You know, it was the people that I met, and I know I kind of say that over and over, but you know, Stanford was a very unique place. I don't think people realize how small of a university it was. So all of the other athletes, they supported each other, and you'd be sitting in a training room, and you know, there's Tiger Woods, and Bill Walsh comes walking down the hall, and they all come to your volleyball games, and you know, it was such a surreal experience. And everybody that was there was the best at what they were doing in high school. So you didn't dare talk about your accolades, because somebody sitting next to you in the ice bucket has been to 4 Olympics. You know, Summer Sanders came walking in and got in the whirlpool with me, and I'm thinking, for crying out loud, where am I? You know, where am I? It was just this weird world.
And now you are, as Ron mentioned, you're in the construction industry, and you and your husband are doing that. How did you transition? How did you wind up in the construction industry?
Kind of by luck. I had a friend who said, you know, you'd really do well in this industry. It's kind of male-dominated, a little bit like a locker room, and you build teams. And I thought, you know, that sounds intriguing. I got into it, started working for a very large commercial real estate firm. Interestingly, had a gentleman who asked me during an interview, he said, you know, if I had to know one thing about you that told me everything I needed to know, what would that be? And I struggled on that for a little while. I was in my early 20s, and finally came to it. I said, you know, I was an athlete. And that was the first thing that somebody needs to know that tells you a lot about me. I will never forget my first job in commercial real estate. Lots of guys, a lot of former Stanford football players and Cal rugby players. And in their bios on the website, it all, NFL, former this, and I submitted my bio, and at the bottom it said, you know, Stanford University scholarship athlete, 2-time national champion. And I'll never forget, the woman from HR called me and she said, are you sure you want to put that on your bio? And I said, absolutely, absolutely. It tells you everything you need to know about me.
Awesome. Well, one more thing. We all have a tendency, at least in our mind, from this area, to gravitate back to the region. What do your girls know? What have you given to them from Southern Illinois? What have you taken from Southern Illinois and passed along to your kids?
Room to run. That's the biggest thing. I mean, we open Grandma and Grandpa's back door and we just let them run for as far as they can see. I'm very proud of where I'm from. I talk about it a lot. My friends joke about my accent that I get every once in a while. And I talk to the kids a lot about it. Of course, we come back frequently to visit. And I stay in touch with my friends and my coaches. It's just a different kind of people here. People make eye contact and say, hello, how are you? And they genuinely mean it. I miss it here, and I'm so thankful to everybody who was such a big support, my coaches, my family, that have always had my back.
It's an honor to welcome you into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Great to have you back, Marty. Thank you. Marty St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
You know, covered sport for so many years, and I can't tell you how many times I have been told by a former athlete who is retired what they miss most. What they miss most usually are not the games, they're the locker rooms, they're the teammates, they're the people that played for them, the coaches. Those are the things, and Marty basically said the same thing.